Hello, parents, and welcome to another semester here at Lutheran High School. My name is Mr. Lin, and I'm going to be the Algebra 2 teacher this semester. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a great semester, but before we get started, figured I'd introduce myself. As I mentioned, my name is Mr. Lin. I've got a background in math, physics, and education. So I got my undergraduate in formal math with a minor in physics at University of Missouri St. Louis. Then I went back to school and got a master's in secondary education. So I love math. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting, and to me, it's kind of like a neat little puzzle. So a little bit about me. So I am a new-ish father. I've got a three-nager at home. She turns 3 in February, so that's been fun. I'm sure a lot of you parents can kind of sympathize with what she's going through. But also before I was teaching, so I spent about 10 years working at the St. Louis Science Center. So if you ever Google my name or see my face show up on YouTube, that's kind of what I was doing. And at the Science Center, I learned a lifelong love of learning. And so through that experience kind of pushed me back into the classroom where I can help facilitate that love of learning to everyone else. So my goal this semester, probably my number one goal, is to help prepare, encourage, and inspire your students to be that lifelong learning or that lifelong learner. So, we never stop learning. And if I could portray that excitement and that joy and that love, that thirst for knowledge, then I'm going to count my semester as a success. So a little bit about Algebra 2, and this goes for both Algebra 2 classes. So in general, math is a skill, right? I'm sure all of you have taken math courses before, and you probably had homework. So I get it, though. Our kids are busy, especially here at Lou High. I'm a little newer here at this school, but I've been so impressed with the students here because they've got Stuco, they've got sports. We have a fantastic robotics team. And so it seems like everybody is doing all of these cool things. And I want to support and encourage that. So I really want to avoid the hours and hours and hours of agonizing homework. So in general, though, my goal-ish is to keep homework at around 45 minutes a night or under. So yes, the day before a test, we might have, or your student may be spending a little extra time. And that's okay, that happens, that's part of time management. What I want to avoid is every single day your student is staying up late to do math, getting up early in the morning to finish their math, and blah, 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 blah. So if that's happening, encourage your student to talk to me. So I value open and honest communication, and I will always adjust to make sure that your student is successful. I am here to make them successful, or to encourage them to be successful. So that is what I'm here to do. So like I said, about 45 minutes. If your student is one of those students that really doesn't want to talk to the teacher, I try to make myself as approachable as possible, but I get it. You can always feel free to send me an email like, hey, my son or daughter is beating their head against the wall. They're throwing their books across the room, which would be terrifying because it's on their iPad. Like help, or what's going on. So I need to know those things. Maybe I need to address something. Maybe I need to do something different. So I want to work with you. I want to work with your students to make sure that they are successful in this math class. So that being said, so how are we going to teach this semester, right? So I'm going to do what is called a flipped classroom. Who are you? And where did you come from? I thought I was alone. Oh, I'm your imagination. I'm your imaginary parent here to make sure that you answer all my questions. Okay, wow. For being an imaginary person, you seem very lifelike. Okay, hang on. Let me stop you for 1 second. What is a flipped classroom? Like,
Are we turning the desk upside down? That seems weird.
But anyway, that's a really good question. What is a flipped classroom? So your traditional classroom, especially in math, is you show up to class, you sit in a desk, and you watch me, blah, blah, blah. Here's all the things that you don't understand. And then I go, hey, does everybody understand it? And you go, yeah, sure. And you go home, try your homework, and go, I don't get it at all. So that's the traditional. A flipped classroom is we do the opposite. So you get your lecture or the lesson at home. So what does that look like? That means it's going to be a YouTube video. So has this ever happened to you? Mom, I am working on math. I'm watching YouTube. Well, yes, I am using YouTube. And so if they do say something like, hey mom, hey dad, I am doing my math homework here on YouTube, that's what they're doing. But the goal is they get the lecture at home via the videos that I do. So each night or each time I give a new lesson, they'll have 2 videos that they have access to. They'll have the lesson, which is, just teaching a new concept. And then they will have a second video of me working examples. So those examples, usually they're like 4 to 6 problems from the notes that I give out. And it's a video of me working those examples. So that's your typical homework night. Watch the video and do what I call check on learning, and that's those 4 problems.
Okay, so we flip it, but then what do you do in class? Are they just like hanging out? What do I pay you for?
Oh, you're right. I totally forgot to mention. So, they get the lecture at home, and then here in class, we actually go through your traditional homework. So I call it practice work. So we're working examples, and thus far I have found that most students get the most frustrated when doing actual problems. Typically that's at home, but instead of kids getting frustrated at home, I flipped it so that kids can work here in school on the actual practice work and working problems, so that when they hit those brick walls, I will be there to help tear those walls down and educate more math.
Okay, cool. But tell me about grades. My student is a high achiever, and they will get an A in your class.
Good question. Grades are always a great question, right? And so grades are a useful tool for me communicating to your student and then communicating to you about how well everyone's doing, and that's well and good. But I'm going to let you in a little secret. I don't care that much about grades. I think that we should be learning for the sake of bettering ourselves, and we should always be pushing ourselves further. And also, I don't think grades are an effective tool to evaluate your abilities. And lastly, parents, think about it. How many of you get graded on an A to F scale on a daily basis? Probably not many. In the real world, it's, are you good at your job? Are you not good at your job? Are you getting fired from your job? Hopefully it's not that last one. But it's, in the real world, grades are just a letter. It's just a means of communication. That being said, I get it. They mean things. Grades mean things, especially here at a college prep school where a lot of our students are planning on going to college and they need that A in the transcript, and it means something to them. So grades are still important. That being said, let's talk about Algebra 2 and how we do grading here. So I wrote up here, maybe you can see it, maybe not. It's really for me because I forget this stuff all the time. Their homework is 40% of their grade. So that homework is mostly completion. So this is like free money right here, or free points, I should say. So homework is completion, and I do that intentionally because you should not be afraid to try things, to struggle a little bit on the homework. And you shouldn't have to worry. You shouldn't be going, oh my gosh, I'm going to fail this class because I can't figure this one problem out on this homework. I'm going to stay up all night till I get it. Trying to avoid that. So homework is completion, except for quizzes. Quizzes get wrapped up in this homework grade right here. And again, I use quizzes to evaluate the students about whether or not they're understanding the content. So it's more a measure for me to figure out if we need to spend more time on something. So then the test is again about 40% of their grade, is 40% of their grade. And of course, quizzes and homework and tests are obviously graded on accuracy. I still need to, at the end of the day, I need to make sure that you know your stuff, or your students know your stuff. And then our final, which does include the midterm, is 20%. So if you have a midterm and a final, if you do the math, each one of them is going to be 10% of their grade. So I have it set up like this because I have a lot of points in tests and finals, because that's how mathematics works in the college atmosphere. I don't like it, but I still want to prepare your students for that college life. But I have that good homework part in there to be a buffer. So especially if somebody is struggling a little bit with grades, if they're turning in their homework, they're going to have that nice little buffer to make sure that they can get the grade that they want on their transcript and ultimately be successful in college or life or wherever it is that they're going.
Okay. What about if I have questions? How do I contact you?
Yeah, communication. Communication is key, right? I mentioned earlier that I am a big fan of open and honest communication. So I tell this to my students all the time. It's like, hey, if you don't get something, please tell me, and I'll try to say it differently. I'll try to find somebody else to get it. I will do whatever it takes so that you understand it. Or if you think I'm doing a terrible job, tell me. Maybe I need to change something. So I'm not one of those teachers that's like, I've been teaching for 37 years. I know what's best. No. I think teaching is a learning process just as much as being a student is. So I hope to learn this semester just as much as I hope that your students are going to learn this semester as well. Learning, I think, is kind of a social construct. So I hope this semester that we can learn together, me and your students, and if they have any problems, please tell them that I'm always available. They should, on the syllabus, they have my cell phone number. They are welcome to call, text anytime they want with questions about math. They have my email address. Please note that my email address is jlynn@slsc.org. I just gave you a Science Center one. jlynn@lhssc.org. Oops. So it's not, the normal thing is Lynn or your last name at lhssc.org. So if you haven't noticed, I'm the second Mr. Lynn that works in this school, and the other one was here first. So J is the beginning initial of my first name, which is Josh. So jlynn@lhssc.org. Because I work at Lutheran High School now, not the Science Center. But either way, I'm really excited to be working with you all. It's going to be a great semester, and if you guys have any questions whatsoever, always feel free to email, call, text, whatever, and I will happily answer those questions. Imaginary parent, thanks for coming, I think. Bye.